Oh man, I feel for Gabriel Bortoleto. I really, really do. You know, being the first Brazilian to compete in his home race in Formula One since Felipe Massa in 2017, and it didn't go to plan. It did not go to plan. I mean, thank goodness, and I said this in my race review as well, thank goodness that he's relatively okay. Honestly, that is a minor miracle. It really is, given the humongous crash that he had during the sprint. He did compete in the race as well, but his day on Sunday was a very, very short one, and he's described it as one of the toughest weekends of his entire career during the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And I have to say, I agree with him, at least in Formula One anyway. I can't remember anything quite on this scale for him because it just didn't work out. Maybe the pressure got to him to an extent. Maybe he made that late move in the sprint because he felt like he had to impress the home crowd. I don't know. I feel like he's got a more mature head on his shoulders than that, personally, from having spoken to him a good while ago before he became a Formula One driver. You know, I don't think he's a hothead by any means. He's got a very cool head on those shoulders. I don't think he's a hothead by any stretch of the imagination. Pressure can make people do some strange things, but for me, it was just a freak accident, really. But the main thing is that he was okay. But let me just go through what he's been saying about this weekend, guys, because, you know, some drivers really do well in the home races, but other drivers do really badly. And Bortoleto's not raced in Brazil since he was in karting, probably. I don't know if he's ever raced in Brazil in any category before Formula One. He certainly didn't in Formula 2 or Formula 3, so it's been a long time anyway, and nothing on this scale in terms of the media hype around him and stuff. So let's have a look. Gabriel Bortoleto's long-awaited first Formula One home race ended in heartbreak on Sunday as the Kick Sauber rookie failed to finish both the sprint and Sao Paulo Grand Prix, describing the experience as one of the toughest weekends of his entire career. The 21-year-old Brazilian arrived at Interlagos full of optimism, eager to put on a strong performance in front of his home crowd. However, his weekend quickly unravelled as after a heavy 57G crash during the sprint race, followed by an early collision in Sunday's Grand Prix. While battling Alex Albon during the sprint, Bortoleto attempted to pull out from the Williams driver's slipstream heading into turn 1, but lost control and slammed into the inside wall. The impact sent his car ricocheting across the track and into the barriers on the opposite side. Miraculously, Bortoleto escaped uninjured, but the damage to his C44 chassis was extensive. Despite the team's best efforts, Sauber were unable to complete repairs in time for qualifying later that day, forcing the rookie to start Sunday's race from the back of the grid. I am firmly of the opinion as well when it comes to that crash that he very much lost control of the car because he was trying to move and brake while the DRS was still open. Obviously, if he got on the brakes and the DRS does close, but I don't think he hit the brake pedal soon enough. He lost control of the car trying to make that late dive to the inside because of the DRS being open. We'll never know for sure, but it did seem like that's what happened in my opinion. But yeah, in the Grand Prix on Sunday, it didn't really get much better, but thankfully the impact this time was a lot less severe. After making a strong start and gaining a couple of places on the opening lap, his race came to an abrupt end when Lance Stroll made contact with him, sending the Brazilian into the barrier. His race came to an abrupt end when Lance Stroll made contact with him, sending the Brazilian into the barriers once again. Bortoleto said on the weekend, quote, "I'm just very upset because it's my first home race, so you always expect to do a good job or at least race a little bit. I think it has been one of the toughest weekends of my whole career because I see that my fans are here, my family, my team, for them it's also very important." End quote. And when speaking about the crash in the sprint, he had to say this, quote, "It was one of the biggest accidents I've had in my career, probably the biggest one, and then not doing a single lap in the race after having a good start. Until that moment, I think I was up 2 positions already." End quote. But Lance Strulovic had other ideas, taking him out on the opening lap, very much compounding the misery from what is a very difficult home weekend. So yeah, just chalk it up to one of them weekends, you know. We'll have to see how he gets on next year. I hope he does better, obviously, in his home race. But Gabi Bortoleto this year has seriously impressed me. He's not that far off of Nico Hülkenberg and has been beating him on a semi-regular basis. You know, he's scored a good amount of points. I think he's probably at the bottom of the championship of the people that's actually scored points. So he's only ahead of Doohan and Colapinto. But that doesn't really tell the full story, in my opinion. He's been really impressive, and it's very tight down there at the bottom of the championship. There's not a lot between Bortoleto, Gasly, Tsunoda, Hulk, of course, as well. Behrman, Ocon, you know, they're all down there, and there's not a lot between a lot of those drivers. So yeah, guys, what do you think about this? Very much what's the opposite of a flash in the pan? A very negative flash in the pan. I don't know how you really phrase that, but I don't want to make we're not going to make a mountain out of this molehill, really, are we? You know, it's just a bad weekend. He's a rookie. It happens. Hopefully, he'll bounce back in Las Vegas with a strong performance. Like, share, comment, subscribe, guys, if you want to see more like this. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world today, and we'll see you soon for much more content on the world of F1, just like this.